If you are a fan of Formula One, you might have heard commentators and pundits talk about simulators. In this video, we will look at what is an F1 simulator and understand how it works. Let's get started. Unlike commercial simulators which fans can purchase for in-home use, Formula One teams utilize simulators that have chassis attached to electromechanical components. When the simulator is in use, the chassis actually moves in response to the commands from the pedals and the steering wheel. The components of the simulator are controlled by computers which contain computational models of cars and tracks. With this technology, an F1 team is able to recreate the acceleration, lateral, and braking forces the driver experiences on the racetrack. Simulators differ from team to team, but all teams use the following two simulation types: DIL, driver in the loop, or computer simulation. The DIL is a virtual racetrack which requires the driver to be in the seat, similar to a flight simulator. In addition to the steering wheel and the pedals, the simulator features graphics, sound, and surround screens. Tracks are scanned using lidar scanning, a type of laser scanning which recreates a 3D map of the entire circuit down to the millimeter, replicating bumps and curves. Data gathered from the DIL testing is compared side by side to computer simulations to identify optimal racing lines. Now let's look at why simulators are important and understand how often teams use them. In previous years, at least 10 days were allocated to preseason testing, and in some years, teams were allowed to test their car for as many days as they liked. However, in recent years, in order to save costs and level the playing field among the teams, Formula One decided to limit the number of testing days to just 3. Also, mid-season testing has been banned starting from 2009. These rule changes make simulators extremely important. Simulators are used to try out cars virtually before making physical parts, which in turn saves time and money. While the benefits are obviously visible, there are some downsides to using a simulator. Simulators cannot account for factors such as changing weather and dirty air, which will come up during the race. From a fan's perspective, these downsides are actually a good thing. This makes racing more exciting because teams cannot simply simulate everything ahead of time. They have to be ready to make adjustments on the fly for things that come up on race day. F1 simulators are mostly used by junior and test drivers throughout the year. For example, Red Bull runs its simulators most days of the year with the drivers from the Red Bull Junior Academy providing the team feedback. Mercedes runs their simulator 4 days a week and run about 120 to 130 laps each test day, 2 race distances in a day. If the racetrack takes place on an existing track, they run about 450 laps in 2 days. For a newly introduced track, the team adds 2 days on the simulator plus 1 day for the drivers to learn the track layout. Simulator testing also takes place on the race weekend after practice. Data is fed back to the factory so that teams can prepare the setup for qualifying. What do drivers think about simulators? It varies from driver to driver. Max Verstappen, for example, spends a lot of time in the simulator because, according to him, every driver has their own driving style and he chooses not to rely on the feedback given by the test drivers. Lewis Hamilton, on the other hand, has a different mindset. In 2021, he said, "I hardly ever drive a simulator. I maybe do 20 laps a year. I found it just a waste of energy." Hope this video helped you learn about Formula One simulators. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like this video and consider subscribing to the channel for more great Formula One content.